And joining us now is Dr. Nicholas K. Coch. He's a coastal geologist at Queens College of the City University of New York. Sir, good morning to you.
Oh, thank you.
It has been how long since New York has seen something like this?
Oh, quite a few years. But this is a replay of a hurricane that hit New York City in 1821. 1821. And it literally hit every city at that time on the way up. I never thought that would happen again. And when it hit New York City, the tide rose 13 feet in 1 hour.
Of course, the predictive models were slightly less accurate back in 1821.
Right.
So what do we have to do right now?
Stay away from the water and get yourself in a wind-resistant building.
There's been a lot of talk about these buildings because I think people, especially who are on upper floors, say living in the 20th floor of a high-rise building, are very concerned. So what are the issues and the concerns there?
Well, the wind velocity will increase with the higher stories. And if you experience trouble, get away from the windows, put as many walls between you and the windows as possible, and if necessary, get into an interior stairwell, which I believe with New York City code has to be concrete.
Because if it hits tropical storm force winds at ground level, it's possible that it could basically be hurricane force winds up high.
Absolutely. It's not possible. It's going to happen. Right, because the wind speed increases as you get away from the frictional effects.
You're dealing with potentially shattered glass construction sites?
Well, somebody was mentioning Hurricane Ike. The streets of Houston were littered with broken glass that had been sucked out of the windows.
And we have to watch out for all of that.
That's right.
We've seen workers trying to secure some of it, but there's so much construction going on, obviously in big cities like New York.
Well, one of the things that I've seen in looking at the aftermath of hurricane damage is that the debris does more damage sometimes than the wind or the water.
And stay off the streets.
That's right.
I mean, if you can, let's talk about the surge as well.
Okay.
Wind is one thing, the storm surge and the flooding is another.
Freshwater flooding, too.
Yeah.
There's two kinds of flooding. Everyone's been concentrating on the saltwater flooding, but you're going to have freshwater flooding because, first of all, we have rock up here and we have cement, and there's no place for the water to go. So the first phase is going to be flash flooding, probably even before the surge starts.
We're looking at that map now of the zones in Manhattan on what areas are most susceptible, and some of these areas have been cleared out already.
Right.
What do you tell people beyond just getting out? Are there preparations they can do before leaving?
Well, sure, secure pets, but I understand the New York City evacuation plan is unique in that it allows for pets in the shelters. So that helps out a lot.
So storm surge versus wind in a place like New York, we've been talking about what may be the bigger threat. What is the bigger threat?
Well, surge along the coast is the bigger threat because New York is unique in having a right angle between New Jersey and Long Island. And when the water, at the front of the hurricane, the winds are blowing from the east to the west. If you see that graphic there, it's pushing all the water into the right angle. You can't push water into a right angle without it rising abnormally. So we're unique in New York City in having added surge because of that.
At the very least, this is going to be a waterlogged city tomorrow.
It's carrying a tremendous amount of moisture, this system, and we're going to have a lot freshwater flooding, saltwater flooding, and wind effects in the skyscrapers.
Less wind than in the south, but more dangerous than a storm in the south?
Yeah, well, we're dealing here with a northern hurricane, which is very different. As a hurricane moves north, it gets affected by the westerly winds at these latitudes, and that pushes it forward faster and increases the speed on the right side. It also enlarges it. Now, the thought of this hurricane enlarging any more than it is with a 300 to 400 mile wind field is scary.
Dr. Nicholas K. Coch, we appreciate your time this
morning.
Fascinating information, a little frightening, but appreciate it.